Fog machine. It should be there. You just hit the button, James.
Somebody tell me where our hosts are?
Yeah.
What?
I felt scared that you could hear me chewing.
I heard like a hum.
Wyatt on set.
Alright, let's get this done.
Roll camera. Roll sound.
Season 1, Episode 11, Marker.
Action.
Welcome to All the Hats, a podcast about filmmaking and industry.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another new episode of All the Hats, a podcast about filmmaking and industry. I hope everyone has had a wonderful week. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little new, I think, to both of us, but also very interesting, and that is web series. And not just in generalization of web series, but in particular, the pre-production or development, pre-production, and production process of a web series. Because it really is, much like a television show, a much bigger beast than just your typical film, whether it's a feature or short.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a lot that goes into a web series. And so that's something we're going to go ahead and discuss a little bit here. And do you know...
And you're just getting off of one, right?
I am just getting off of one, yeah. So, I just finished a...
And you're going to be continuing the work on that too, so...
Hopefully, yes. In post-production, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to see what happens and hopefully move into the rest of the season. So I did just finish working on three episodes of the series out in LA. And there were some ups and downs to it.
Yeah.
It was new to me. It was new to my
the people doing
executive producers out there, my directors. So, but it was an interesting experience. It was a learning experience. It was a lot of fun, but definitely some takeaways that will make things easier next time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. How much do you know about web series in general?
Not much. I just assume that it's pretty much the same as most series.
Okay.
So, what would be the differences, do you think? The major differences?
I think the major differences is like the thing that I see with both a web series or a television series that you don't really think about, at least those of us who focus all of our attention on film, is that you basically have to have a 3-act structure
within
for
a small
each episode.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know. And so we're talking about 3 acts in about a 6 to 7 minute episode for a web series if you're doing a short format series, as we are, or this particular project is. So the one thing that's interesting about that is kind of figuring out how to end a series or an episode that'll both kind of stand alone, but also lead you into the next episode, leave you wanting more to continue this series. And I think that's something that was done well on this series that I worked on. The writing was good. It's a comedy series. I was actually surprised because, there's a lot of comedy series that come out or just people who write and it's like same old garbage, all the time. But yeah, it was fun. And I think it has a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to see what happens. But with that said, web series are a completely different beast because just like your film or a film, you need to know your ending really before you know the middle or even the beginning.
Yeah.
And an ending can be, 15 episodes away. It could be 20 episodes. It could be 50 episodes.
Really could be anything because...
Who knows? You never know how many seasons it's going to go.
I think web series, the one thing that's different is, I guess it's sort of like any like story-based podcasting or whatever, because you don't have like a lot of oversight. You don't have people saying, you have to do it in 8 episodes. You have to do it in 10 episodes. You have to do it in 12.
Right.
That's what we're funding you for. That's what you're going to do.
Right.
So you kind of have a little more freedom within your little group of people who are getting together to make it. So
you do, and most web series, as far as I know, are pretty much just independent. And I don't know. I think you're with me on this, but I love independent, just film. In general, it's a whole lot more fun when you don't have a studio down your throat
Yeah.
trying to get you to do this and do that. Not that there's anything wrong with studios. I think there's a time and a place. But if you're interested in just being creative and allowing your creativity to just flourish, then independent film and television's.
There's a lot of fun in making things work on a budget or like with very little things to work with, and bringing people in on that. Like basically having to make your own blood or having to find a cheap way to make an effect happen,
Right.
Even in post, like using Blender, a free program, and stuff like that in order to make things happen.
And I know it sounded like I just kind of knocked any and all studio productions. I'm not doing that. I love studio productions, and in a sense, they're easier to do in some ways. Also, a lot more difficult, especially when it comes to the development or the actual production process. I mean, trying to get the script out there, the story out there, to get a studio picked up. That's probably one of the hardest parts to do.
Yeah.
Once you do that, and the studio's backing you, you're kind of just coasting, right? For the most part. Where an independent, you're pretty much doing everything on your own.
And you have to worry about funding.
Worry about funding,
everything.
Casting, props, art, all of it. I mean, you're
I think it all starts at funding, though. Really,
yeah, it really does. I mean, if you have the
Studios have the
funding,
money
it's
to
one
back
thing. Exactly.
things.
I mean, money plays obviously a huge role, if not the largest role,
Yeah,
in the industry.
and that's the difference I feel mainly between a studio film and an independent film is that, I mean, I'm sure there's independent films that have money backing them in some major way. If like some big actor decides they want to make a film and they have millions to back it up with. So it may not be 100 million, but it might be a couple million, and that's a lot more than some other indie films will have backing it. So
Right, for sure.
so when you first got on this project, you got in through your family and friends, pretty much, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a far away thing,
Right.
You probably
This was
wouldn't have the
something.
connections.
It kind of happened. I don't know if it was by accident, but I just call him my brother-in-law. 'Cause basically, as far as I'm concerned, that's what he is.
Yeah,
And so he ended up posting something on Facebook, just looking for LA-based crew for a web series that he was pretty much in pre-production for. He was producer, director. And so I ended up sending a message to him on Facebook, just like half jokingly, like, hey, how about somebody from out of town, out of LA, someone who's from, like 3,000 miles east.
yeah,
And it just so happened, because we had never worked together before, but I know I was been interested in working with him and vice versa. So he ended up talking to the EPs and he ended up buying my ticket to go out there. And I was the only one from out of town working on the project. And I took a hit on the pay because I was like, well, if I come out there and work as an assistant director, I'll take a hit on the pay and just be there to help you guys and get to know everybody. It's just kind of a passion project in a way.
but when you first got on it, you didn't start out as a higher position, right? You started kind of lower.
I started as assistant director. So
Okay.
I started right off the bat as assistant director. And I did a lot of work here in Atlanta, just going through the script, creating schedules, helping with the shot list and things like that. Breaking everything down. I went through structure breakdowns, figuring out what we needed prop-wise, art department-wise, clothing-wise, all of that.
Yeah,
And roughly trying to keep a budget of some sort, trying to find out where we can make cuts, because we only had a specific amount of money, and it wasn't a ton, but it was enough to get us through. But I wanted to try to save money anywhere we can, because eventually, in some way, you're going to find a moment
it'll come back and bite you.
on set. You're like, dang, I really wish I had that extra $100 for this moment here. And luckily, we had it because we did cut costs. We saved money. And there were a few times.
And that's a reason to bring you back on in the future.
And so we ended up doing pretty well with our budget. We didn't go over budget as far as I'm concerned. I know like some of the stuff came straight out of the EP's pocket that wasn't part of the budget.
Yeah.
That was added later, or part of the original budget, I should say. But yeah, so it all worked out, and for the most part, it went pretty smoothly. But so when I got out there, I had a certain mindset when I went out there as assistant director. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I got to do. I'm going to work close with Christian. He's the director, producer, and I'm going to help him schedule this. I'm going to get the hours down, let him know how much time I can give him per scene, per setup.
Yeah.
I'm going to make all the call sheets. I'm going to list out all of our actors, both background and principal talent. And we're going to go from there. We're just going to do the thing. And so I got out there the first day, and suddenly I was looking for more equipment that we didn't have yet.
Yeah.
And I was answering questions for the EPs and for Christian as well, and for other things. And we were trying to get stuff done. And I realized that everything wasn't quite set or ready to go
when it should have been
2 or 3 days out from when we were about to start filming, And it was like 2 or 3 days is not a lot of time.
Depends on what you're trying to do.
Well, yeah, for sure. But so everything, as far as I'm concerned, should have been ready to go.
Yeah.
I get out there, we needed equipment. You would think LA would have all the equipment that we need, but of course they don't, or at least not at a decent price.
Yeah. Not at the price range that you're looking to.
So I get out there on a Tuesday. That gives me a full day, because I got there early. So like full day Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We filmed Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I needed equipment by Thursday, and nobody had anything in LA. So I actually had to have stuff shipped overnight, or 2 day or whatever, from Tennessee. Literally just came from the East Coast. I could have brought it with me.
Yeah.
Because Tennessee's just a couple hours from us.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up having to spend the extra penny to have stuff shipped to us to make sure we had it on time.
Yeah.
And that was kind of frustrating. We've had things show up, and this is part of like the whole money thing, why you need to save money, because we had things that were shipped to us that we needed prop wise, old things. Like we had a Nintendo, and we needed it for our scene. So
what did you call that? What was it? What did you get?
A Nintendo.
Okay.
What did it just not come out right? Or?
It sounds, you say it funny, but that's fine.
Okay. Anyway, so we had it shipped to us, right? And it was shipped to UPS.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned this back when I worked in industrial. You never ship anything UPS. UPS is very bad at handling stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there, folks. If you're in the industry, be careful.
Yeah.
We got the Nintendo, and it was damaged. The game was damaged. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good thing, because now we're like, what do? We need to find a way to repair this within 24 hours, because we got it on Thursday. We needed it ready by Friday.
What game was it?
Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
Was it Duck Hunt and Mario one, or sometimes they would come together?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, actually it was. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, they were the two together. But we were trying to get Duck Hunt to work, and it wasn't working. Everything was just fuzz on the Nintendo, and it wasn't working. So
even after all the tricks.
Yeah, after all the tricks and everything. So we had to call around and see who can repair it. And of course, repairs are like expensive, and they couldn't necessarily do it right then and there, and we needed it. So luckily, somehow, after being stressed, my director and I left, went to set for the first day. My sister stayed home and worked on the Nintendo. And sure enough, she gets it working. Don't know what she did.
Probably some of the tricks you didn't.
Probably something. I know she spent a lot of time on it. And we ended up getting it working, and then it died again. Then we got it working, and then we're like, okay, now we're going to use it. We get to the house, one of our locations, get ready to use it, and turns out it wasn't supported by the projector that the house had for us.
Oh, no.
So we ended up not even using it. We had to do like a YouTube screen to make it look like there was Duck Hunt happening, but there wasn't. And it was really frustrating, because you're thinking, well, all this money that was spent, this system is broken, a personal sense, something that belonged to us is broken.
Yeah.
Wasted a bunch of money for no reason, because we can't even use it now. And that was frustrating.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. So that was during production.
That was during production.
All that. So when it came to setting up your schedules and everything prior to leaving, was there anything different for series, online series?
Not really. I mean, I think the only difference No, not really, because it's
Pretty much basically
pretty much
the
the
same.
same thing. The only difference is that each episode is new, and if you treat like all the episodes combined as one long movie or whatever, then it's the same thing. But it's, I don't know, it wasn't difficult.
Yeah.
I should say. I mean, I've done it before, and it was one of those things where you create a schedule and you hope we're going to follow it, but inevitably there's going to be changes.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. It's like I had these schedules set, ready to go night before we're making changes, or the day of. You get on set, and a director will realize, so I'd rather shoot this now instead of that. And as an AD, I'm like going crazy, like, this is my schedule. We need to follow the schedule.
Yeah. I worked days on this.
Right, exactly. I work days on this, and we need to follow it, telling you it's better. But, in the end, your director, he's the boss. So you're going to let him do what he's got to do.
Yeah,
as
you're
long
the
as
assistant.
as long as everybody's on schedule.
You're the
Like, let's
assistant
not
to
fall
the
behind.
director.
Right. And it was pretty cool because, like, in production and even part of pre-production, I worked as assistant director. But then I kind of took a step into producer, and I was actually credited as a co-producer because of all these other things that I took, roles that I took on aside from the assistant director role. So that in itself was both frustrating and cool too, because I ended up doing a whole lot more work than I expected to do.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything, I mean, I love doing work, keep me busy.
Yeah.
But it's just, there were jobs that an assistant director doesn't do that I was doing, And so
Well,
I had to deal with
you're
locations.
on a small set with less
Exactly.
people.
Exactly.
And that kind of happens. You wear multiple hats on
For sure.
small sets.
And I think that's one of the best things about small sets, though, is because you kind of, if you understand like the different departments, then you can easily, to some extent, do those things. And that's where, luckily, I was able to step in because I've had experience in most departments, or maybe some people just don't. So I lucked out. Were they lucked out? I don't know. Somebody lucked out.
Somebody lucked out for
Somebody
sure.
lucked
Yeah.
out. But it worked out, and like the first 2 days, we fell behind schedule. And the first day, I think we had 8 pages and we fell behind by 2 hours. The second day we had 7 pages, I think, and we fell behind by an hour and a half, which was, again, a little frustrating because I don't like to overstay my welcome at locations if we don't have to.
Yeah.
I just feel bad talking to those.
It's also more work.
It was more work, but it's also like you
possibly
tell
money.
whoever you tell whoever you're renting from, like, hey, we're a little behind. Is it okay if we stay an extra 30 minutes?
Yeah.
30 minutes pass. Hey, can we stay another 15 minutes? 15 minutes past, an hour and a half later, that's not really the right thing to do. But again, in this
How you
industry,
burn bridges
it's
and not go back to someplace.
right. And then surprisingly, like I gave my director basically, well, here's the thing. We had 12 pages. It's our longest script. It was the first episode we did on our third and last day. So we had 12 pages and roughly a 12-hour day at one location, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m.
An hour per page.
Except we had a 2-hour setup, which I scheduled in. Because we had to set up a stage, a bunch of lighting. I think it was a huge party that we're throwing for the scene. So we had a lot of setup to do. So I gave us 2 hours of setup, which brings us down to roughly 10 hours of work plus a half-hour lunch. So there we are at 9.5 hours. And we had to shoot out all 12 pages in 9.5 hours.
Yikes.
The fact that we had 8 and 7 pages and we're 2 and 1.5 hours over the first 2 days, I'm thinking, this is crazy. We're going to have like 50 extras. It's going to be crazy. It's whatever. So I talked to my director the night before and I was like, look, I know this is a huge episode. The whole scene is huge. There's a lot that goes into it. And I'll be honest with you, we're not going to have a lot of time to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Which means I can give you approximately 2 takes per setup.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, if you can shoot something out with 1 take or move fast enough for 2 takes, try to do so and then save those extra takes that you really need for bigger setups,
And we talked about for the film we're going to make,
Right.
when we do our wide shots, we're going to shoot one full wide and then do a beginning end and whatever in the middle we might want.
Right.
Like just spot it, like for specific things for our second take.
Right. For sure.
But so that we're not wasting too much time. Because I feel like the wides can waste a lot of time and you're not staying on the wide.
Right.
So
no, you're never staying on the wide. I mean,
you might go back out to the wide
that's
for
an
certain
establishing
parts,
shot or something like that. But yeah, so I told him, like, look, we're going to do two setups or two takes per setup, unless you absolutely need them. And we had a little powwow at the beginning of the day, and I told it all the cast and the rest of the crews, like, everything that's happening, how much time we have, et cetera, et cetera. They were I think they got a little scared. You saw the look on their face, like, one of the actors even like, 2 takes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's acting.
2 takes. I'm sorry, but that's all we got.
I mean,
it's like, look, we can either do 2 takes.
I mean, if you're on a stage, you only have one chance.
Right. So. And it's and the worst part is like, in the neighborhood that we were at, we were in North Hollywood area, not too far from.
You also have rehearsals and blocking and everything.
Well, yeah.
It's not like
right.
It's not like you're just going in the first take like blind.
Right.
Or you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
So.
But the thing with the location we were at is we had a 10 o'clock like sound curfew, so we couldn't be too loud after 10. So we had to shoot out any loud noises or like yelling or anything like that before 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So you figure we started at 12. That's 2 hour setup, 12 to 1, 1 to 2. We shoot out our scenes inside. It's already 4. That leaves us approximately 6 hours to shoot out anything loud, all the big scenes and everything before 10 o'clock and get it done. And to my surprise, and I mean, I was watching my watch. Like every 2 minutes, I was like, look at my watch. We ended up finishing the night an hour and a half early.
Yeah.
Because everything ended up going smoothly. Even though we had a few setups, we were able to catch up and get things done. And I think it was one of the best episodes of the 3 that we shot. We were all on cue. We were all, on the same page.
Yeah.
We were focused. We still had a lot of fun. Like we had some time to chill out and talk with background and just.
I think there's also a thing called overthinking. Like for the actors, if they have time to overthink their role, they can also end up overthinking their role and messing it up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And getting, I don't know, if they're new, they can start getting nervous. If they're seasoned, they could start just overacting or, overthinking their role and trying to do something that's not necessary.
Right.
No,
absolutely. I agree. And one other thing is like, we only had one camera on set. And we wanted B-roll. And that's something that is really hard to do when you're timed. You have a specific time limit. We can't shoot out all these pages and then still have time to go get B-roll at the hour that we need them.
I mean, if it's handheld, you might be able to run out and get B-roll while the other things are happening, setting up something else. Or
right.
Long as
it's possible.
But
we had a few moments.
It would have to be really quick.
Exactly. It had to be really quick. And so we were actually shooting on a Blackmagic, not my favorite camera.
No.
But it did the job. It was 4K, and I was like, well, Blackmagic 4K, it was the cinema camera, like the larger one.
The box.
The boxy looking thing. Its 4K is relatively comparative, and actually I think the iPhone's 4K may even be better, has a sharper, clearer image, which is crazy.
So you use the iPhone?
But I personally use the iPhone. I shot all the B-roll. I was like, you guys do what you got to do here. Here's your time. You have until such and such. I'll be back. And I went out and shot all the B-roll we needed for that scene.
Yeah.
Or the episode. And it ended up working out really well.
Good.
It was just a lot of work that went into it last
There'll be a little work
in
in post trying to match up because color will be different on different cameras.
Yeah.
Especially iPhone versus something specifically made for.
Right. Yeah. And that's something I'm going to have a lot of fun doing because I am doing post now as well. I'm going to edit it, which is something I asked to do. We were going to get another editor in on it. And my director and I were talking, and I was like, look, I already know the script, like all 3 scripts. I've read them front and back, back and forward and backward. And I know it. And I know what you want because we've worked on it so long and talked about it.
Yeah.
So it'd be easier and more efficient if I just do the edit because I already know what you want. And we hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen, you know? So luckily EPs ended up thinking about it and gave it to me to do the edit. So looking forward to that. That's going to start like in a couple weeks.
And finishing up this episode, I want to ask you, kind of editing still, but like also like putting it online, getting it out there. We should talk about like that type of thing.
Yeah.
What are sort of the plans for this, or what do you think would work otherwise?
Yeah,
even beyond this.
So I mean, YouTube, Vimeo are probably two of the largest formats. You know, to take advantage of when it comes to this kind of thing. And if you're not looking to just throw it out publicly and you want to try to make not make money off of it, but try to get funding for it, then that's where like the film festivals come in and things like that. You can use
film festivals do
web series. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they do web series, and usually you could do like a pilot, or you can send in like anywhere from 1 to 5 episodes, I think, depending on the festival. Oh no, the festival. Okay. So that is an option for us, and I don't know offhand what the EPs want to do. EP, I know I've said this EP a few times. EP just means executive producer for anyone who doesn't know.
It's too late for that.
Well,
you already made our listeners angry,
right? So I don't know exactly what they're planning yet. I don't know what they want to do. I know they want to see like a quick teaser trailer that they're going to throw out there, and that's probably just going to be used to build interest.
So do you think the three? You think it'd be good to start out by putting it into festivals? I mean, I think, and then after that's kind of ran its course, then start dishing it out online.
I think it really depends on what you want to do with the web series. If you're interested in just making something and getting it out there as a kind of a reel of your own work, then just getting it online is the most important thing. Content is king, and something that I learned in Nashville, actually, when I was at a festival there. But if you're looking to get picked up, whether it's by like Netflix or Hulu, Amazon, something like that,
if it's
other
already
than pitching
on,
to them, other than pitching to them, a festival is a great way to go.
And if you already threw it on YouTube, then they're probably not going to touch it.
Maybe not. I mean, they might.
I don't know any
there's a
YouTube
few
stuff that like straight up turned over into a Netflix thing.
The only one that I know that did offhand, I'm sure
I do know podcasts that
lore,
Homecoming lore.
There was a dog one recently. Is like, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like basically about a dog's life. That was I don't know if it was on YouTube, but it was a web series that was, and
it called A Dog's Life?
Maybe it might have been that. Yeah. It ended up getting picked up, right? And turned into a movie. So, I mean, it's possible. And that's the whole point of having content. You get it out there. Someone might see it online and be like, this is great. Let's reformat it, make it longer. And then we'll back you. With more money, this can be amazing. It's good now. But what happens when you have another $50 million?
Sometimes it actually doesn't help.
Well, sometimes it doesn't. You're right. But
sometimes it does the opposite.
The idea, though, is...
Because there was that one short that won like I don't know. It was a Golden Globe or something, an Oscar. I don't remember. Yeah. But it was... What was it called? I don't remember. It was a short film. They made it into a bigger film. And... the bigger film wasn't as good. Yeah. Because the girl had grown older. The little girl in it had grown up, and it was just like... And
that's a problem if you're going to use the same
she's still
actors,
acting, She's still acting like a little girl, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like something like that, you're probably better off just changing your actors altogether and getting the right people. Lights Out, that's another short... that was released on YouTube that got picked up and turned into a feature film. Yeah. I didn't see
I think they do switch to features, but I haven't seen anything move from
to a series.
From like a YouTube channel to a Netflix.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I haven't seen that happen. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I haven't seen it yet. So,
but you will when I get this web series.
I'm sure I will at some point. I'm sure it'll happen. But there's also YouTube Originals now or whatever. I'm not sure how that works, funding wise or pay wise.
I don't know. There's so many new formats out there. That's just, it's hard to keep up.
YouTube has its hand in so much, and I don't even get half of it. I don't understand it. Like they have YouTube TV, they have YouTube Red, they have YouTube Music, they have YouTube this, YouTube that,
Yeah.
YouTube Originals, YouTube Movies. I don't even know. Like, do you pay one price for all that, or
I
is
have
it
no idea.
all together,
I've never
or
looked into it.
all separate? Do you have to pay like $1 million to have each individual thing?
If I had $1 million, it
I
wouldn't
don't
be
know.
going to YouTube.
But we've sort of come to the end of our episode, and thanks for listening, guys. And I'm James Gary.
And I'm Erik with a K.
See ya.
And cut.
Good. Cut. All right. You want me to cut that one? So we'll go ahead and talk it.
That was simple.
Yeah, so
Same thing?
second team in.
Okay. Feel free to email us at allthehatspod@gmail.com.
And if you would like to check out our schedule or any other information about us, we are on facebook.com/allthehats.
And of course, be sure to stream us wherever you stream podcasts.